What is up, party people? Shoot the gap. Coming in for another episode. Haha, the Longhorns scored 69 points. Too good to resist, guys. You gotta hit a good 69 joke, even if it's college football. And once again, I'm going to be doing a solo episode because, the gang's entire schedule has just been crazy this week. And personally, I didn't really have time to record at any time during the day. I've been on my feet pretty much all day, and I'm just slapping together a last-minute episode. So for all of those out there who want to know who to start, who to sit, I got you covered, man. Don't worry. Today is Saturday, December 5th, in this foul year of our Lord. And if you don't mind, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. And if you dislike the video, if you dislike me and my stupid taxi driver haircut, just dislike the video twice. No. I'm not about to go to a Robert De Niro costume party. I actually do like my hair like this, yes. Now, before we get into the matchups for tomorrow, I bet Brian's like, do the waiver wire, do the waiver. Don't worry. I'll get to it. This hasn't been a big week. There hasn't been a lot of news, but for Josh Jacob owners, he was ruled out. And you might be wondering, should I start Booker? Should I not start Booker? I would personally, I would say yes. Now, it's also worth noting that Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook are both healthy. They are not on any injury reports. So for any Alexander Madison owners or Latavius Murray owners, do with that information what you will. It is worth noting that Alvin Kamara did play behind Murray last week. That trend could continue. Also worth noting that Mr. Younghoe Koo, who was banged up in last week's game and this week, is listed as healthy. I would start him with confidence. And it is also worth noting that I'm looking at the situation for the quarterbacks in Miami. Tua is still questionable for Week 13. It is because of a thumb, and, that's not necessarily the easiest thing for a quarterback to come back from. Also, for you Jonnu Smith owners, this is a twofer. You're wondering, why did I just segue from Tua to Jonnu Smith? Well, here's the reason why. Mike Gesicki is probably out on every waiver, and none other than Mr. Jonnu Smith was listed out this week because of a knee injury, which is a new injury for him. And he was already kind of playing like ass. So for any Jonnu Smith owners who are looking for a pivot, maybe not just for the week, but maybe you're thinking, okay, if I want a decent shot at a championship, I got to make a move. I think Mike Gesicki's your guy. I don't see why they would force Tua back early. It's not like they're going to actually make noise in the playoffs. If I was them, I would actually tank at this point. They've proven they're a competitive team. They're just going to hurt their chances in improving next year by trying to win games. So I'm starting Mike Gesicki as my tight end in place of Jonnu Smith. Now let's go ahead and get into the matchups. Before I do that, I want to thank our sponsors. Shout out to High Volume Music Radio, the pride of Sunnyside, probably the coolest radio station in Houston. Definitely. Way cooler than the Buzz, man. Way cooler than Brother Rod. Because Brother Anthony, he actually, has good music taste. So go on there. Check out the shows, man. And shout out to Sports Host, the premier Sports Host app. One of the really cool things about Sports Host is that they love trivia. They're always having trivia nights, man, and there are prizes. There are a lot of ways to get cool prizes and stuff like that on this free app. Download it now. Link below. First game of the week, we have the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans battling to see who can be the winner of this game. Now, obviously, it's going to be the Colts. I'm joking. But in all seriousness, the Texans historically have played like ass anytime they play the Colts. And whenever you think the Texans are going to beat the Colts remind you that they have the keys to the Texans' brains, so to speak. Now, just for the sake of the line, the over-under is 50.5, and they have Indianapolis as 3-point favorites. Personally, I am going to take this line. I'm going to take Indy to win by more than 3. And I am taking the over. Players to start would include Deshaun Watson. I'm not starting Duke Johnson, and I'm not starting David Johnson. I know that everyone is really eager to pick up David Johnson off of waivers, but you're not thinking that situation through clearly. You have a 3-headed backfield in Duke Johnson, CJ fumbles a lot, and now David broke my back Johnson, and the Texans are a not well-run organization. Crennel is not a good coach. He's just not mentally challenged like Bill O'Brien, and I do not foresee positive game script for the Texans running backs. I will, however, start Cooks and Keke with confidence. If you're looking for a tight end to stream when you're desperate, Fells would be the option, in my opinion. I'm sitting the defense and the kicker. Now for the Colts, I'm starting both the J-Train and Hines. I think they're actually both decent options for fantasy. Hines has the high floor because of his pass-catching capability, and I think that Taylor will be utilized more in the end zone now that he's healthy. Trey Burton is a decent streaming option if you're desperate enough and need a win. I would sit Phillip Rivers, and like I said on the show before, all of the other receiving options for Indianapolis are shit sticks, so I'm not touching it. You can touch it if you want to. Of course, we're going to start the Rodrigoat. That's his nickname now. You heard it on the show. It's his nickname now. I came up with it. Ooh, wee. And, I would start the Colts defense. I could foresee them as being a decent floor play. They could get 4 or 5 sacks. They could salvage their day. So, if you have a roster that's locked and loaded and you don't want to drop any players and the Colts are your only D, you should be fine riding with them. As we say on this show more often than not, moving on. Next we have the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. Man, this game is going to be very interesting. We're going to see what, for the listeners at home, Voldemort, the streak is alive. Feels like, I want to say 15 episodes, but I don't know. Right now, Vegas has the Saints winning by 3. And the over/under is 46. Very odd for them to use whole numbers. They usually kind of bitch out and do that 0.5 bullshit. Now, I am going to have to say, Atlanta, they stopped the Raiders from scoring points last week. I don't really foresee that happening 2 weeks in a row. It just seemed kind of like a fluke. I might be wrong, but hey, I'm just not one to trust the Falcons' defense. So I am going to take the over, and I am going to take the line of New Orleans by 3. I'm not going to argue with Vegas on that because I do think it's going to be a competitive game. Now, obviously, if you have Voldemort, that probably means you don't have a better option at quarterback, so you're starting him. Obviously, you're starting Alvin Kamara because even though he isn't doing too hot right now, you're not going to sit him because when you sit him, that's when he gets 66 points. Yeah. Now, Latavius Murray, I would start him if you were desperate. I think I'm actually starting him in one of my leagues because I have so many injuries. Michael Thomas, you're obviously starting. Will Lutz, you're obviously starting. I think Cook is. I don't think he's a good enough option now with Taysom as quarterback. So personally, I would pivot away from him. I think there's better options out there. Like I said, Mike Gesicki, Trey Burton, probably on waivers. Something to take a shot at. Ebron might still even be there. For the Falcons. Oh, I'm not starting the New Orleans D, by the way. Well, actually, I will start them. The great thing about having the gut is that sometimes you just pivot in the moment. That's what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. For the Falcons, we're going to sit the D, obviously. And their most valuable player, Mr. Younghoe Koo, is definitely starting. He is a must start. I think he's actually the number one kicker in fantasy right now. Matt Ryan, obviously, you're starting him. Julio, starting him. Calvin Ridley, let me see if he's healthy. I don't really own him in any leagues, so I don't ever know what his health is because I know that he's always banged up. Let's see. So Julio's questionable, Gurley's questionable. There's no other skill position injuries. So monitor Julio and Gurley, start Ridley, sit all the other receiving options, sit Hurst, sit the D, start the kicker like I already said. And obviously you're starting Matt Ryan. No, we're not going to start Zacchaeus. Moving on. Next we have the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Now for this game, it's going to be a 45 over under, and the Bears are favored by 3. And the big news, of course, is that the Lions fired their coach Matt Patricia. Now when the Texans fired their coach, they went on and got the win the next week. So there might be the thought, oh, well, the Lions following their footsteps. Honestly, it could go either way, because the Bears are kind of a shit show at this point. But I'm still going to take the Bears to win just because the Lions, they don't have an impressive offensive line, and the Bears still have a good defense. Now for the Bears, obviously, you're starting David Montgomery and Allen Robinson if healthy, but Robinson's listed as questionable, so you might want to monitor that. I'm not starting any other skill positions players for the Bears, though, because it's just too volatile. You don't really know who's going to eat. So David Montgomery and Allen Robinson, if healthy. Those would be the two. Nick Foles is questionable right now, so I would watch that. Now on the Lions, for the Bears, obviously we're going to start the defense with the Lions' piss poor line, and we're going to sit the Bears kicker. Now, on to the Lions. They actually have 2 running backs on the injury report. Jonathan Williams, who is a no-name, but he's on there. And then DeAndre Swift, who is D for doubtful. So DeAndre's doubtful. So that might mean pivot to Adrian Peterson. Maybe carry on if you believe in him. I'm not starting either of them. That's just me. I would start Matthew Stafford. Kenny G does not seem to be on the injury report, so go ahead and fire him up. In fact, I have him in a league, so I'm going to do that. Now, I would not start the Lions D or the Lions kicker. As far as the over-under, once again, 45 over-under, 3-point spread, Bears favored to win. I'm going to take the Bears at the 3 line, and I'm going to take the under on this game because I feel it could get ugly. Moving on. Next we have the Cleveland Browns at the Tennessee Titans. Now these are 2 teams that like to run the ball, and they run the ball well. So this is probably going to be the most metal game of the week. The Titans are 67% favorites to win. And they have good reason to. Vegas has them winning by 5, and it's a 53-point over-under. I am going to take the under since I think it's going to be a very physical game. Both teams are going to try to come out and establish the run. And I'm going to take Tennessee by 6, not 7. I see what they're doing. They have the 5-point line, probably because they foresee Gostkowski missing a kick or two, so obviously don't start him. Sit him. But I see the Titans winning by 6 because I see him just missing one extra point, not 2. Now, for the Titans, I would start Ryan Tannehill, I would start Derrick Henry, and I would start A.J. Brown. Now, on the Yahoo app, it's telling you to start a starting tight end for the Tennessee Titans by the name of a Mr. A. Fursker, but he didn't really do shit last week, or the week before that, or the week before that. Even though, Jonnu isn't really doing anything. So personally, I wouldn't be chasing that. I understand the theory of stopgapping by getting the backup to your position, but, there's just better talent out there. I would sit the Titans defense. Now for the Browns, I would sit Baker Mayfield. I would start Nick Chubb. I would start Kareem Hunt. And I would start Jarvis Landry. I would sit everyone else because Hooper just caught a touchdown, and I don't see him doing that in back-to-back weeks. But since I said that, he's probably going to catch one tomorrow, so start him. Reverse logic. Obviously, we're sitting the Browns kicker, and I'm sitting the D. Moving on. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are 67.9% favorites to win, and I don't blame them. The Cincinnati Bengals are a dumpster fire of an organization right now. The game has a 42.5 over-under, and the Dolphins are favored to win by a whole 10.5 points. I'll take that line, and I'll take the over, because for some reason, whenever Fitzmagic is in, it's an offensive ball game. Tua is a true questionable, but like I said, I don't see him playing. And the Dolphins have 3 running backs in the injury report as well, and Mr. Ahmed, DeAndre Washington, and Malcolm Perry. And Myles Gaskin is coming back, so I foresee this being the Myles Gaskin game. So start up Myles Gaskin, start up Devontae Parker, start up Mike Gesicki, and if Ryan Fitzpatrick is healthy, start his ass. And of course, we're starting the Dolphins kicker. He's doing pretty good this year, man. I'd even start the Dolphins D, too. That's fun to say. Dolphins D. Now, for the Bengals, we're not starting anybody. Super easy. Wait, before we move on, I'm going to take the under. No, I'm going to take the over. What am I saying? I'm going to take the over because of Fitzy. I already did that line. You can tell it's late. Hoo-wee, forgive me. Moving on, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Minnesota Vikings are going to battle it out to see which team can rise above mediocrity for one game even. I'm starting Kirk Cousins. I'm starting Dalvin Cook. I'm starting Justin Jefferson. Funnily enough, Alexander Mattison has been ruled out, as well as Irv Smith. And on the Jaguars side, they don't have any skilled players listed out yet, but Chris Conley is a questionable. Not really relevant, though. You shouldn't be starting Chris Conley. For the Jags, I'm going to start Robinson and DJ Chark. Those are the only 2 guys I'm starting on the Jacksonville side of the ball. For the Vikings, like I said, all of those guys I mentioned before, and then Thielen, of course. Now, the over-under is 51.5 with a 10-point spread favoring the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings by 7, and I'm going to take the under on this game. Moving on, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the New York Jets, and this game is going to be pretty easy to call, pretty easy indeed. The Raiders, of course, Josh Jacobs is out, but I don't really think they need him for this game. I would start Booker, Waller, and Carr for the Raiders. You can start Ruggs if you want to, but he's just so volatile, man. He's getting the targets downfield, but, We have yet to see Carr connect, but you know what? Start him. Start Ruggs. Do it. You heard it here. The gut has his opinion. For the Jets side of the ball, I'm not starting anyone, man. You can chase points on that dumpster fire of a team, but I ain't doing it. I'm starting I would feel comfortable starting the Raiders defense, and I'm not starting the kicker. Moving on. The Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals have kind of been underperforming as of late, and I'm not going to lie, it's pissing me off. So they need a fucking win, man. They need to live up to their talent, damn it. I'm starting Kyler Murray, I'm starting Drake, I'm starting Hopkins, and I'm starting Edmonds. Sitting everybody else. Gonzalez is not to be trusted. He's in the room of kickers I say fuck you to. Now, in terms of the Rams, I'll start Goff, I'll start Kupp, and I'll start Woods, but that's about it. I feel like the running back room is just shit stick at this point, and if anyone is to emerge, it's Henderson, but, I mean, you saw Akins. He's had some flashes too, so who really knows? Now, Vegas has this as a 48.5 over-under. I'm going to take the over. And the spread has the Rams winning by 3. I'm going to take the Cardinals by 3. I'm going to bet on my team. Obviously, we're not starting either defense since I'm taking the over, and we're not starting either kicker. Moving on, we have the New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. This game's going to be interesting because Vegas has them, the Seahawks that is 86.2% favorites. It's not going to be that competitive of a game. The New York Giants have Colt McCoy, Hookem as quarterback, but let's be honest, ever since that Alabama player injured him for no good reason. I hope that guy's out of a job and bagging groceries at Walmart, because that was a piece of shit move whenever he tackled Colt McCoy in that game. That was a piece of shit tackle, man. The play was already dead. Ruined his arm, ruined his football career. And now he's just he's a former a hollow shell of himself. He's a pea shooter. He can't throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field. He looks like if you took Peyton Manning and then crumpled him up whenever he throws the ball. It's sad. But, you got to be a backup and make that money. Am I right? Obviously, we're starting no one on the Giants for that reason. I started Wayne Gallman last week, and I was able to get like 19 points out of it, but I'm not doing that again. I'm not chasing the dragon. Especially not against the Seahawks, whose defense is actually showing signs of life. So I'm starting the Seahawks D. I'm starting Lord DK Metcalf. Or actually, no, Duke DK. That hits better. I don't know why I came up with Lord a few weeks ago. Duke DK sounds so much cooler. I'm starting Tyler Rocket, and I'm starting Russell Wilson. I'm not starting the tight ends for the Seahawks. That's playing shit stick. And we're not starting the kicker. Unless you want a floor play and you have nothing better, because he's probably going to kick a lot of extra points. Vegas has this as a 47 over-under. I'm going to take the under because I don't see the Giants scoring a lot of points, and I'm going to take the line of Seahawks by 11. Moving on, we have the Eagles at the Packers. Talk about another game that is not going to be competitive. Two franchises that had terrible drafts this year and one team that's playing well despite it. Now for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, start him. Aaron Jones, start him. Devontae Adams, start him. If you're noticing a trend, the offensive skill players with A's in their names, you're starting them. It's worth noting that none other than Alan Lazar, another A name, is healthy. Let's start him. Sit MVS, and I would sit all the other players on the Packers. You can start the D, though. That much I will say. Now for the Eagles, the only notable injury is Quez Watkins, who is listed as out. I would go ahead and start Miles Sanders. Fulgham, who actually leads the team in receptions, touchdowns, and yards right now. I'm sorry, just yards, I think. I don't know if he has the most touchdowns. It's just telling me the yards. And I would start Carson Wentz because he could probably get some. Actually, no, sit Carson Wentz. What am I saying? He's trash. Vegas has this as a 49 over-under and the Packers to win by 8.5. Personally, I am going to take the under, and I'm going to take Green Bay by 10. Moving on, we have the New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this game is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be high scoring. Vegas has this one as a 1.5 spread, which is exciting, with a 47 over-under favoring the Chargers over the Patriots. I am actually taking the Patriots to win. I am going for the upset. I am starting Prince Cam. I am starting Damian Harris. And I'm not starting the receiving options on the Patriots because I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm sitting both defenses in this game and both kickers. I'm starting Justin Herbert, I'm starting Eckler, and I'm starting Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. Those are the only players I'm starting in this game. I'm taking the Chargers to win by 3. I think it's going to be decided by a field goal to end regulation, and I'm taking the under. Moving on, we have the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Vegas has this as a particularly low-scoring game, but what did I say last week? You always take the over on a Chiefs game because you don't know how many touchdowns they're going to score. Yeah, they proved me wrong last week, but I'm still sticking to it. Vegas has the Chiefs winning by 13.5 points. I'm taking them to win by an even 2 touchdowns. So take that, Vegas, you pussies. Take whole numbers. Now for the Chiefs, I am starting Mr. Tyreek Hill, who has caught 13 touchdowns in the year and already has 1,000 yards. He's had himself a great season. Patrick Mahomes has only thrown 2 interceptions. Since I'm saying this, he's probably going to throw a few tomorrow. I'm jinxing it. And Mr. Eclair, sweet Eclair. Also Kelsey, of course. For the Broncos, I'm sitting lock, and I am starting Melvin Gordon because the one thing you can do on the team is run the ball, and Lindsey and Judy are both listed as questionable. So Gordon might be the best Bronco out there. Obviously, we're sitting the Broncos D. I'll start the Chiefs D and the Chiefs kicker, Mr. Butker, and I'll start McMagnus. Moving on, we have the Washington football team, known as WTF, and the Pittsburgh Steelers playing, and the Steelers are trying to stay undefeated. For some reason, Vegas has not picked a line yet. I don't know why. Oh, they're not giving me the line because I guess you have to sign up for a thing with them or whatever. Oh yeah. They're not showing me the line on the Steelers game and the Cowboys game. So I guess they just haven't picked it yet, or they're making you have to pay to see it, which is stupid. So I'll do it for you. I'm gonna do a 47 over under for this game and a 8.5 point line for the Steelers, just because they looked kind of shaky last week against the Ravens. Notable injuries include Ben Roethlisberger, who is questionable right now, and Chris Boswell, the kicker, who is also questionable. Scary Terry, is questionable on the Washington football team as well, so monitor that situation. I would start Antonio Gibson. And that's probably it for the Washington football team. Maybe Logan Thomas if you're desperate. For the Steelers, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju, you're starting them all. James Conner, healthy, you're starting him. And if Big Ben's healthy, you're starting him. But if Big Ben is out, I would definitely consider pivoting away from the Steelers' offense. You do not know. Wait, is Connor still out? Yeah, he is out. My bad, guys. Connor is out, as is Kenny Golladay. I don't know why I did not. Oh, well. I do not know why I did not see that on ESPN on their app when their football app is telling me that. Just another reason why Yahoo is better than ESPN for fantasy football. Shout out to Yahoo. So I guess that does it then on that. Obviously, we're starting the Pittsburgh defense, and if Big Ben sits, I'm starting the Washington defense as well. You might start him regardless, because if Big Ben's injured, you might be able to get a couple sacks out of him. We're sitting both kickers. Moving on, I'm going to do a double header for you. I'm joking. I always want to do that, but it doesn't work out very well. The Bills at the 49ers. And I think this game's going to be a lot easier to decide than people are giving it credit for. For some reason, Vegas has the Niners is actually winning, which I do not agree with. They have the Niners as 1-point favorites with a 47-point over-under. I'm taking the over, and I am taking the Bills to win by 5 points. Taking the Bills to win by 5 points. Now, for the Bills, we're starting Josh Allen. We're starting Diggs. I'll start Beasles for the remainder of this season just as a floor play. I'm not touching the running backs room just because I don't know if it's going to be Singletary or Moss. But for some reason, my gut tells me to start Singletary this week over Zach Moss. On the Niners side of the ball, I'm starting Kittle, and that's it. Let me check to see if Kittle's healthy while I'm thinking about it, because I do not trust this ESPN app. Yeah, Kittle's still on IR. That's good to know. I thought he was on IR. Okay. Well, then I'm not starting anyone on the Niners. Not against this Bills D. I'm starting the Bills D too. Oh, no, I'll tell you what. I'll start Ayukin if he's healthy. All right, moving on. The Cowboys and Ravens. Now, this game is going to be really easy for me, in my opinion. The Ravens are going to win. This is the angry sex matchup of the week. Ooh. And they're not. Vegas is being a pussy once again. They're not giving me a line, so I'm going to have to come up with it. I'm giving you a 51 over-under, and I'm taking the... Actually, no. What am I saying? 41 over-under, and Ravens to win by 13. Ravens, obviously, you're starting the skill players in Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown. Psych. You should drop Marquise Brown. He sucked all year for fantasy. You have no idea what he's going to do. But if you're desperate and you have no other options, he is playing the Cowboys, so he's a good flex candidate, if nothing else. Now, for the Cowboys, Zeke would probably be the only person I would really have confidence starting. Look, if you want to start Amari Cooper, Gallup, or CeeDee Lamb, you do you. The offense has just not been the same without Dak, and that's my thoughts on the issue. Obviously, we're starting Justin Tucker. Obviously, we're starting the Baltimore D, and obviously, we're sitting the Cowboys D and Zerline. Well, guys, that does it for today's matchups. I'm sorry it seems like a kind of rushed episode, but it's been a really long week, and I just wanted to get something out to you guys for there tomorrow. And to quote to quote the doc, don't just live fantasy, be it. Or I think that's what he says. I'm sorry, Brian, if I'm butchering your line. I'm just gonna quit while I'm ahead. I can only make this worse. Peace out, y'all. Good luck in your matchups. I I really hope that Big Ben is healthy, because if not, that totally screws up my plans for fantasy, because Chase Claypool I've been leaning on, and I do not have any other decent options at wide receiver. So, we're all in this together, right?